Good evening, good morning to people near and far, fans, friends, and flirts. Why is it? And you all know who they are, but there are channels on YouTube that are inflammatory, hate induced, saying things that are just beyond reasonable. And they still have a channel. There's a guy that claims to be God. He has said things on his channel that he hopes women get RAPED by a gang of usual suspects. People have complained about this channel. Nothing happens. You had one come after me, disturbed, living at home as a grown young man, claiming to be a girl, harassing anybody who disagrees with him. Hate-induced mockery. Still has a channel. Is Google selective in their censorship? Absolutely. Absolutely. They've been doing this for years. They know they do it. They come after conservatives. They come after people who do not support the woke and ridiculous ideologies. And it is against their community guidelines, whatever those community guidelines are, nebulous, vague, changing for their convenience. Why are they not coming after a guy who's on his chat saying, I hope you get RAPED? Why in the world would Google allow stuff like that? How about the guy that attacked me laughing at Charlie Kirk getting shot? Laughing. People were losing their jobs for that. And that right there tells you what's going on. People say God doesn't exist. I laugh when they say that because it's clear that Satan sure does. And we know God does exist because if God didn't and Satan was alive, this world would be destroyed. He would incite people to just destroy each other fast. People are not good enough themselves. The Bible makes it very clear that all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. You look at Don Lemon. He is 100% GAY, has either a Caucasian or, I don't know if it's boyfriend or husband. Guy's much taller and bigger than him. And he's bragging about getting, he's charted new territory and he's out there instigating, leading the protest into a church service. It's interesting. It talks about the Antichrist, that he would not have the desire of women. What does that mean? It's very possible the Antichrist may be of a homosexual persuasion. I'm going to say something. This is my observation, and I have a right to say this. People who are militantly gay tend to be very arrogant. I saw it at transportation. Saw a young guy. I don't understand why everybody flocked to him. Management, specifically his race, thought he was all that on a stick. He didn't have physique in his favor. He didn't have punctuality, timeliness, or good work ethic in his favor. And yet he got hired at multiple jobs around the area, driving for the YMCA, driving for one of the coach bus lines, and transportation. He is a terrible employee. I walked into the terminal one day and he cussed out a supervisor, a black female, still has a job. Cussed her out multiple times. Cussed out other employees. He had a girlfriend who was a sweetheart, but her ability to choose good men was badly damaged. And he got her so mad that she left there an angry, bitter, unpleasant woman and fled out of there. He dated another woman who wanted to beat her up. But he was also in the gay lifestyle. And I want to say something that I believe, based on what I've seen, that there are aggressive gays that are dangerous to us. There's a lot of arrogance there. You see that with the guy that came after my channel. I and others have filed complaints. His channel, none of his videos have gotten taken down. So Google, which owns YouTube, the 3 people that started it sold out, which is too bad. Google doesn't care about the harassment, the hatred, and the violence dished out by liberal conservative people. They don't do anything about it. They didn't do anything about a 10-year stalker, sociopath, still moonlights my channel. Still has a channel up with his name of my old videos, changing the titles, with a death threat, with him standing in Dollar Tree sunglasses, a baseball hat, and standing in Manila. Went to Manila before I did in 2018 to do a video threatening me. Has YouTube taken that down? Call me by first, middle, and last name. I have complained about it for years. Google doesn't do a thing. The people that work for Google support violence against anybody who doesn't agree with them because they obviously don't take these channels down. They don't care if you, as a conservative, are bullied. They don't care. I had to take a written test yesterday of several questions that were ridiculous. I didn't have to, but I chose to just to see the ridiculousness of this. And I mean, it's crazy. Let me make sure I'm not. See if we can read any of this. You know, and it's policy training. All liberal questions, all clearly headed in a direction. I answered them all correct. And I thought none of these have anything to do with me. They made an allegation on a Candace Owens video. I'm like, wow, I can't even watch it back to see what they're talking about. Well, you can appeal the decision. I appealed it within 10 minutes. They struck it down. You mean to tell me somebody at Google is awake and was waiting for Michael Nelson? Is this a robot? Is this AI? Who knows? But asked many different questions. And you can see I marked my answer. So freedom of speech is being defined by the liberals, not by Webster. I do think you have to be careful about false character assassination. I try to be careful that I don't say anything that isn't the facts. But what has taken place with institutions like Google, and if you think you can call a number for Facebook, Google, YouTube, you can't. I said this years ago, they're fortress corporations. They got a big high wall. You can't get over it. You can't reach anybody. They don't follow constitutional law. Google does not follow constitutional law. They never have. You have the right to defend yourself. You have the right to present your trial. Google doesn't allow that. They strike a video and say, this was a community standards. What community standards? When a cop gives you a traffic ticket, statute, law, section, blah, 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 there it is. Google doesn't do that. Google doesn't highlight it or send a voice clip. And you don't get to explain anything. You got a limit on how many words you can use. And then I noticed yesterday when I went to appeal it, you go to type and it goes bump and it spins up. So you have to scroll back down and it showed the 2 words I type again, bump, and it spins up. I'm like, wow, you people are just crazy. But you got channels on YouTube that are saying horrible, wrong, things I wouldn't even say. A transgender, self-proclaimed, saying he's tired of everybody persecuting, hating on the transgender community, does a video titled, Ugly Crossdresser, Michael Nelson, in parentheses, calls transgender ugly. If this young child living in his mom's basement, an adult acting childish, and he said on one of the videos that talked about his bad behavior on the internet, I am terrified at the thought of actually getting a job and going to work. Well, yeah, act like that around the guys I work with, they'll show you the door. There's some workplaces that if he were to work in, people would risk getting fired if they had to deal with this cat. People in America are getting tired of this. And it's disgusting. Our rights are being trampled. That is a fact. Google could get butthurt and threaten to shut me down just on this video right now. They do not believe in free speech. They believe in it for them, as defined by liberals. Everything is based on what butt hurts who. I had to pull product out of a container yesterday. The roof had holes in it. Product has been on top of the container, trapping dirt and leaves, and it's rusted through. And I had to pull 45, and I called the president. I said, this order that you got, I said, I'm really having a hard time finding, this is a high dollar order. I had to there were pallets that were thrown in on their side, upside down with the pallets nailed. I had to get tin snips, cut the bands, grab the pallet. It had rained and snowed Sunday. So you had soggy, but I was ripping and tearing. I mean, I worked my butt off. I had to pull and haul trash and busted stuff out of the trailer to get the stuff buried deep underneath. It was still good. Lizards running out of there and everything. And I say that because a guy that works in our woodshop building crates and special stuff to transport and ship large steel items, I told him why I no longer worked for transportation. He looked at me, he says, oh, they're going to get in trouble eventually, because he said nationwide people are complaining about the school district censoring of free speech. I said, well, they claim it's internet. It says it doesn't matter. It does not matter. I remember when I was in Spokane, Durham School Services, and I did not get fired from there, was run by a very incompetent, childish, rude manager who favored the LGBT people. He also favored the obese crowd. For whatever reason, he didn't like me. I was a good driver. And one of the other women in there came up to management and said, I want to know what you all have against Michael Nelson. That guy is one of our best drivers, and you guys are harassing him. What are you talking about? And it's true. Other people saw it. At one point, threatened the boss with an attorney. I didn't realize Spokane had a lot of Seattle liberals. I'm going to tell you something. Seattle liberals and Portland liberal females are the worst in a workplace. I thought, man, I need to get out of here. I loved Washington. Mount Rainier, the Cascades, the Puget Sound. Oh my gosh, Seattle is a beautiful city. Have you noticed? The liberals have taken over all the beautiful places. The highest dollar real estate, the highest disparity in wages. Man, if you're a Democrat, the sky's the limit on your income. You notice red states, harder to make a living. The Democrat Party is punishing working people. People talk about the middle class. What about the working class? I don't call myself middle class. We own a house. I bought a house in the hood for pennies on the dollar. Most Caucasian guys don't do that. And trust me, I've had it, gunshots ringing, crime, people killed, drug deals gone bad. It all goes on. Prostitutes cruising up and down the street, track marks up the arms. Yeah, it's fun. I love it when people tell me I have privilege. We're being punished for having an interest in a woman. And if you think that that's where it stops, I got to deal with this. Let's see if I can find it. I got people jumping on me for this. Condemning me because I did this. Telling me how unchristian it is. And what he failed to realize is the ladies, when I was attempting to have a clothing auction, which really never happened, they asked me to put on the lipstick that I tried to sell. So I did it. And one of my moderators, come on, you weren't going to do that. Why are you doing this? Why are you getting on my channel? Why don't you talk to me in chat? You know what's funny? Is I do this because it's funny. I do this because whatever. I'm going to say something. I have gotten, I don't want to say attack, but I get it from all directions. Christians, atheists, LGBTQ, straight, conservative, Democrats. It doesn't matter what I do. And this has been the story of my whole life. When I never did what I did, and when I never dressed like that, you know what it was? You know what it was all my growing up years? You know what it was when I came walking down a street on the sidewalk in Duluth? I took a right turn. There's an alley, and you can go in Duluth to the Holiday Mall. There's a big wall on a multi-level high-rise. It's a Holiday Inn, and the second floor is an indoor mall. Health food stores, Hallmark. various shops and stuff. And I turned right into a dark parking garage. And a woman come barreling out of the parking ramp, not safe, not slow, almost hit me. I didn't walk in the middle. I was all the way to the right. And I said, "Whoa, ma'am, slow down." This Minnesota liberal slammed on the brakes and said, "Well, if you didn't have such thick glasses, maybe you could see me." I said, "Really, ma'am? I was all the way to the right. It's a parking garage. And it says right there, be careful of pedestrians." She yelled at me saying I didn't have eyesight and had thick Coke model glasses and drove off. You know, that hurt like HE double hockey sticks. I have had this all my life. I was called perverted. I was told what I'm doing is sinful, it's wrong. I hope he doesn't sin, ever. Did he ever contact Tyler Perry? Or Robin Williams and Mrs. Doubtfire? Or the two guys that played the show Bosom Buddies? Did he ever watch those shows or movies? I have a lot of love in my heart, in spite of all that I've been through. But I think it's interesting. I have ferreted out something just by running my own channel. A lot of Christians have a lot of self-righteous hatred of anybody that isn't just like them. Don't you wish your girlfriend was hot like me? Don't you? Don't you wish your Christianity was just like mine? Don't you? Don't you wish you dressed manly and acted manly and talked tough just like me? Don't you wish you had a Silverado just like me? Don't you wish you had a Dodge Ram just like me? Do you notice a pattern? Don't you? Don't you see it? What is the definition of a liberal? What is the definition of woke? What is the definition of trans? What is the definition of a Christian? Somebody wrote on my channel, "You are not a real Christian." Oh, gosh. Really? Am I a plastic one? What is a real Christian? Are all of the people who comment on my channel with hatred about the way I dress real Christians? Probably are. Are they real godly? Are they really walking in the Holy Spirit? Christians always, you got that element within the church. The bossy butts. I'm going to tell everybody else what to do because we're supposed to spur one another on to good deeds. Mike, you're not doing it. Mike. I ought to do a rap to that. Sir, ma'am, when you want to donate money to my channel where I'm making a living on it, then maybe we'll talk about my fashion wardrobe, okay? And I mean that. This is free. Nobody's here with a gun to your head making you listen to my channel. Nobody. And then I get a warning yesterday. I'm like, you know what? I'd have just pulled this whole thing and say, then I'll wear my feminine clothes all day long in my house and nobody will see it and nobody will care. I'm honest. I'm real. Deuteronomy 22:5. Did you feel up a girl on a date, dude? Did you live with your girlfriend? Did you have sex with her before you were married? That's just as wrong. But we're silent about that, aren't we? When you admit you're struggling, when you admit, and somebody even came on my channel and said the thing I like about this channel is Michael demonstrates the struggle with the flesh and the spirit. And I said, that's well put, articulate. I'm getting sick of censorship by Christians. I talked about Diary of Anne Frank. Anne Frank was a girl that most of you that know some history, her family was hiding Jews in their home. And Frank, they had to live a life that most people have no knowledge of today. We got freedom, we take it for granted. And she was writing a diary about everything going on around her. She was a developing, budding young woman, and she admitted she saw her female friend who was a little older, who had breasts, had her shirt and bra off, was dressing for the evening, and she felt ecstasy and aroused. And Christians in the South, we can't have that in the books. And they were on a satanic, angry, roused vendetta against that. Man, the girl wrote what she was feeling. Why do Christians censor that? Have you read the Confessions of St. Augustine? Do you censor that? Sometimes Christians get out of joint. Sometimes Christians can be so heavenly minded that they're no earthly good. We are human beings. Yes, we need to grow. But you yelling at me to do so isn't going to make it happen. And I've told people all the time, if my channel or my words or anything I do is offensive to you and your walk with God, vamoose. Walk away. Block me, hate me, unsub me, do what you got to do. You don't have a channel. You ain't boldly proclaiming anything. But you're going to tell me what I'm doing wrong. I don't like it. I don't like it. And then there's a whole bunch of other stuff that just me saying that opens up. Oh, yeah, he can dish out criticism, but he can't take it. It's the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. And you keep coming back. Not the comment I show, but others. They keep coming back with the dress issue. Okay, you're not going to change me, so why do you keep coming and harping and harping and harping and harping and harping? Well, I like your channel, but I don't like this. Well, if you like Almond Joy, but you don't like nuts, you got two choices. You can pick out all the nuts, or you can get Mounds. Mounds doesn't have nuts. So find the channel that doesn't offend you on any level at all and watch it. There's lots of channels out there. There's lots of channels where people dress professionally. They make money. They do what they want. Watch them. I've turned people on my video to other channels that support this channel. It's good. I'm not in competition with anybody. I just think it's interesting. There's nothing that Michael can do to get an attractive, petite woman to date and fall in love with me. There's nothing I can do. They've changed today. They've changed. And what I'm learning about YouTube is you can't even say certain things because they'll deem it sexually inappropriate. Meaning you cannot call somebody an SLUT even if they are. And you look at what's going on with most of the young women on YouTube and social media, they are being teasers. They have no intention of putting out. They just tease and they want all the hearts and likes. They know what men are doing on the other side of that video. They've got to know. And as far as me, that comment saying, you trying so hard to get attention, that's not why I do this. But you got women out there. I challenge you, sirs and ma'ams, go confront all the women on YouTube putting themselves out there as little teasers. Quote scripture at them. But you don't. You get something out of my channel, But then you got to condemn something you don't agree with. Well, that's my freedom of speech. It is. I left your comments stand. Let all the people that agree with you thumbs it up away. But they keep coming back. I don't know how many times I have to tell people I don't want to be like anybody else. I don't know how many times I have to tell people that. I don't want to be like anybody else. I have a hard enough time in the world that I live in being 100% focused on that image behind me. Work distracts, people distract, bills cause stress, this causes stress, upcharge and cost of everything causes stress. And I wish I could be this perfect, airtight, Christian, super Christian. But I'm not. But I'll tell you what, I've got more fire, more piss and vinegar than most people. And at least I get on here bold, unswervingly, whereas I see most Christians at every church I go to, not only are they not being a witness, they don't have basic manners, can't say good morning to you, can't even look you in the eye and acknowledge you as a human being. And then they believe they're these perfect little righteous Christians. Give me a break. That is an epidemic in American churches today. You got Christian women think they're all that on a stick. Did you quote the verse to her? Do not think of yourself more highly than you ought. No. Women get special preferential treatment anywhere in society, including in the church. Hi, welcome. And they'll walk right by me. Oh, he's a man. He's by himself. We're not going to say hi. They never let poor Rudolph join in any reindeer games. Our society is selective as all get out. Christians do it. Liberals do it. Conservatives do it. Everybody's guilty of that. Everybody's guilty. I try to give everybody the benefit of the doubt until they prove otherwise. Yeah. Somebody told me I would be very mad if you're not here anymore because you shouldn't have to change who you are to please all these people. Look at what's happened with Donald Trump. Let's use this as an example. I voted for him, but I've noticed, and I've said this before, stop making a cult out of anybody. We've done it with preachers. We've done it with celebs. We've done it with sports stars. And then when OJ is going around the city in a Bronco, whatever you want to call that, what, you didn't think he was capable of beating and slamming Nicole Brown Simpson around? You didn't know he was doing all that? Man, I heard the 911 tapes where she's screaming for her life. I thought he was a teddy bear until I heard those tapes. And that whole trial was the biggest circus ever. One group of people believed he was innocent. The rest of us thinking Americans knew he wasn't innocent. Just that fact alone talks about this massive disparity in the human brain. You can tell people the facts, and it doesn't register. Does not compute. Syntax error, like the old computers used to say. I put myself out here being genuine, and I'm criticized for that. I'm honest and real. I'm criticized for that. Our Constitution talks about the freedom of speech and expression. I express myself, and I'm criticized for that. Then you got the almighty Google that gets to redefine everything based on woke politics. we should be able to sue Google. They don't follow constitutional law. They just say you're guilty and don't give you what it is you did. They just give this nebulous, vague, where did I say or do this? I wrote on there, you took the video down. I can't review it to see what you're talking about. That's cute. But you got a troll. Puts up a video. Standing in Manila. His articulation skills are not good. I don't like the person. I wish one day I would hear the news that he's been apprehended, arrested, and he's in deep doo-doo for something. I think that'd be awesome. But no. The Bible says man is born to trouble as the sparks fly upward. I went to work yesterday. 2 guys disappeared over to one of the other warehouses to go get something. I'm busy trying to get my head above water, slammed with projects, slammed with orders to pull, and these guys are fooling around. They had to go to a pallet rack and pull a product. They were gone a while, and then the guy that I'm training comes out and says, Mike, I took pictures and everything. We couldn't get any points to the pallet rack. He said, what is this? I said, a pallet rack. He says, yeah, it's all fell down. I said, the pallet rack? I said, I was just in there the other day and nothing fell down. Pallet racks don't just fall. They're steel. I said, let me go down there and look. And on the way down there, I thought, how much you want to bet? One of them grabbed the forklift. Because I asked, I said, did you guys use the forklift? No. I unlocked the warehouse. The forklift was right there. I put my hand about right at the back. Hot. Somebody drove it. I went down to the end, went down the aisle, looked up. They had taken one of the pallets. There was 2x4s, 3 of them underneath it. And somehow, whatever they did, they jerked it in such a way, the 2x4s dropped, the pallet dropped, and the product slid downwards towards the back of the pallet rack. I thought, oh my gosh, I can't use a forklift to get this. I'm going to have to get up here and unload every piece out of the big box, bring it down, empty the box, bring the box down, get the pallet down, put the 2x4s back. And I thought, I know what happened. These guys made a problem, and now they're going to act like they didn't do it. So I went straight to the owner because my supervisor was out, and I told him what happened. He says, I said, do you think you could have a speech that if you don't know what you're doing, you guys cannot just let anybody get on the forklift? And it went from bad to worse. I took a forklift into a warehouse after I told them. I went to go find an item, very difficult to find. Somebody gave me wrong information. I had to move stuff on the floor away with pallet jacks just so I get the forklift down there. The forklift, this thing is too big for what we're dealing with. I got it in there, got up, pulled number 31 container down, or ProMade. I was told when it says miscellaneous 31, look for the number box, pull it down. Miscellaneous means there's everything and anything in it. Take the big lid off. I start pulling everything out. I'm like, okay, it's not in here. Called the sales guy. I said, this thing, I don't even know what this is. I got a picture, but it's not in here. He comes down and he said, do you know what miscellaneous 31 is? I said, I was told it's this. And he gave that cheesy laugh and he goes, no. And he pointed behind me to the wooden bins. He said, it's actually one of those that's on the end. I said, oh my gosh. I said, see, nobody communicates to me. Then the owner comes up, Mike, I need you now. I said, I got to pick this up. Don't worry about it. So I had blocked the whole aisle because I had no choice. Product on the floor, forklift, everything in the way. And the guy I'm training heard the owner tell me, I need you. I can't have the guy from this other department. I sent him down there, but I can't have him doing this. I need you guys. He brought a scissors lift down there with the forklift. Go up in there and get that product out of there. Straighten that stuff out. And the guy I'm training starts in on me. You can't just leave this. You got to think safety first. I said, did you hear him? Mike, you got to listen to me. I said, did you hear him? He's the owner. He said, we're doing this now. I told him I need to clean this up, and he said, not now. And he had left that warehouse, and he kept at it. And I said, go see, and called him by name. And he's arguing. He heard him. I walked away. The owner heard the commotion. I said, he's arguing with me, telling me I need to clean up that mess. He says, really? I said, you want to talk to him? Because I'm going through this 3 days in a row with this guy. I can't get anything done. It's like running a daycare center. He said, calm down, Mike. I'm the one that told you don't worry about it. Then the other guy that's a problem, did you find the part? I said, no. I said, I was given wrong directions and I need to put all that back. Well, you kind of got everything blocked. I said, please see him. He just pulled me off of that. Well, you can't just leave it there. The owner turned around and said, I told him to leave it there. Now, this has nothing to do with you. I have something more pressing that I need Mike to do right now. This is the world that Michael Nelson lives in every day. I just got a 5 on my eval. And that's all I can tell you, because I can't tell anybody good things on here because there's evil people that want me to suffer. But there were good things that came as a result of that. But guess what? The devil is after me every single day. And my flesh and nitwits on YouTube. They're everywhere, and they're in the workplace. And then I get over to the guy who took the truck over to the other place, come back and got us. He jumped in the back. The guy I'm training was silent. And then the supervisor made a decision to have another new trainee that I had trained without a flaw, hanging with the guy I've trained, and all it was like boyfriend and girlfriend walking around. And I'm like, man, I got all this stuff coming down and they're not getting anything done. And later in the afternoon, I said, can I understand something? You keep saying, Mike, hey, Mike, I need help with this. Hey, Mike. I said, you should be taking those tickets instead of putting them all in your vest. Give him some and he goes one way and you get some and we would have had this done. I said, I got all this stuff to do, and then I had to go over there and clean up the mess that somebody made, implying them in the other warehouse. I don't got time for this. Oh my gosh. This is the workplace in America. It's stupid. You can't just go and go full turbo and do your job. You got to deal with people. People. We got a big forklift. We got different ones. It's like a backhoe in reverse. It's an old case, yellow. It's got the front little tires and the back wheels, except the seat is the other way. Because it's a forklift, it's like driving the backhoe backwards. The engine's behind you, the little tires are behind you. And it's cool. I get on it, these big tractor tires. I'm like, I love this thing. Going between warehouses, I had to pull product. And I can do that stuff. Doesn't stress me. I'm in a narrow road with stuff all over the place. And I just wheeled that thing around. I'm like, I need a job like this where I can just run a piece of machinery and not deal with anybody. I don't like dealing with people, folks. I love people, but as I get older, they're becoming children. I see it on my channel. Mike didn't even read my comment. Mike didn't even notice me. Man, y'all need validation on my channel. I can't talk about what I want to talk about. Yesterday, after I got a strike, I'm like, who is fussing about a video I did how long ago? Was it AI? Was it an algorithm? People are writing in complaints about that evil-hating person that has a channel bragging about his sinfulness. Another guy declares himself God, and when any women come in and chat and say, you are not God, and he'll say, I hope you get RAPED by a gang of usual suspects. Why is YouTube not shutting? Not only is that threats against women, but he's bringing the race card into it. People are writing in. You're going to tell me that they're not paying attention, that they're not seeing it? And all their little GAY drop-down menus? I remember when I had my channel before, you couldn't even hide people. The guy I told you about that took my videos, stole the stuff, put it up on his channel with his death threat video showing his face, calling me out by first class. That doesn't warrant Google saying, hey, that's not right. Back then, you couldn't hide the comments. Now you can hide people. They have no voice. And the trolls hate that. They love to, wow, you're against freedom of speech. I can't even say anything. It's my channel. You want to say something rotten, I can delete it and give you no voice. Didn't y'all do that in a church the other day? They're there worshiping God, and you got to come in and disrupt it. You don't have a right. You don't have a right to come on my channel and be rude to me. Hate to tell you that. You got freedom of speech, but I got freedom of expression. Bye, Felicia. Bye. Get off. And from now on, anytime I see rude comments, hide, hide, hide. That means they can comment, but nobody sees it. It's funny how all these freedom activists want to tell me about their freedoms being violated. Oh, but you're violating my feelings and you're making untrue remarks to me. I tell you what, there needs to be an amendment to the Constitution about our media. And that needs to include Google. Google is discriminating against conservatives, Christians, white males, absolutely. And white females. Anybody who holds a conservative vibe is targeted. If you are trans, if you are pro-Don Lemon, if you are pro-woke, you get a wide privilege card berth. That's fact. The channel that was attacking me, my video rolling, him sitting there going like Sesame Street, living in mommy's basement or house, and not getting a job because he wants to make it as a social media icon. He has no content. He just hates on anybody that disagrees with the trans lifestyle. I'm not the one hating. He is. And I admit, I don't like him. And I wish his channel would implode on itself. It needs to. And the guy that's claiming to be God, you got two of them. You got the guy sitting in the shower with a triangle on his head. But you got another guy out there that claims to be God Almighty, hoping that women would be sexually assaulted. Why is Google not shutting that down? People are complaining. They're drawing attention. Why is Google not shutting that stuff down? It's a damn good question, isn't it? 2 Timothy 3 pretty much details it. Pretty much details what is going on. And this is why Michael has spoken loudly against the suit and ties and the corporate exec mentality, because that has been held and raised in America as the standard. I'm not the standard. Never was, never claimed to be. But I'm an individual, raw, somewhat unfiltered, genuine, and I don't do well in a society that promotes fake, college, dress for success. I have not done well in a society that is their MO. I'm a fish swimming upstream with sharks coming at me with their jaws wide open. Come here, little guppy. Takes guts to be me. But realize this, that in the last days, difficult times will come. For men will be lovers of self, lovers of money, boastful, arrogant, revilers, disobedient to parents, ungrateful, unholy. That just described that trans guy attacking me. He is rude. He is arrogant. Attacks everybody. Even said, anybody crosses me, I will go after them. From your mommy's bedroom. What a warrior! Little pillow queen. A little pillow queen. And then you attack me, calling me an ugly crossdresser. Wait a minute. You think you give me grace because you're calling me a crossdresser. Now you're attacking me. That's irony of ironies. You don't believe in Christianity. You think it was okay for Charlie Kirk to get murdered, and YouTube should be shutting down people that support the death and assassination of a man for standing on his beliefs. Anybody who thinks that that's okay is jacked in the brain. You don't have to agree with Charlie. But you think he should have been killed by a coward named Tyler Robinson? You should not be allowed to have a forum on any social media. You should be incarcerated. We ought to ship you to the Chinese CCP, and you want to deny freedom for others? Then go be a communist somewhere else and get back to me on how wonderful it is. And to you Christians out there that are miserably attacking me in my clothing, get off the channel. If it bothers you that much, I'm not going to do what you tell me. You're not my boss. You don't pay me a salary. You don't pay my bills. You're not remodeling my house. You're not walking in my footsteps. You're not dealing with my struggles. You're not carrying my burdens. Get out. Get out. Did you hear what I just said? Carry each other's burdens. You're not doing it. You want to tailor this channel to be exactly what you want it to be. I told that guy yesterday, I get up in that scissors lift and I'm pulling things out of the bin. Collectively, they were heavy. And I thought, this little bucket I'm standing on, I said, hey, I'm going to throw these down to you. And he started in, Mike, safety. I said, dude, they're not heavy. They're not going to hit you. And I said, never mind. And I just put him in the thing and he's, and I'm 30 feet in the air. And I lowered it, emptied it. I said, dude, I'm done with you. You argued with me Thursday. You argued with me Friday. I'm not getting anything done. I have trained you. And I named all the people I've trained. I said, none of them had a problem with my training. You want to tell me that I need to teach you. You want me to stop what I'm doing every second. Every time I come through the warehouse, they've got me on something. Hey, Mike, hey, Mike, hey, Mike, hey, Mike, hey, Mike. And it is just like that. And I said, that is driving me nuts. Put that aside and go get the stuff you can get. And stop grabbing all the pick tickets and losing them. Put them on the table, grab a few, go get some stuff, pack some stuff. Don't fill the table with so much stuff and then say, we got to get all this done. No, you got to get it done. You pulled it. I got this over here to do. Oh my gosh. And yesterday I finally had enough. Guy's 6'8", 310 pounds. And I finally said, dude, Tomorrow, I'm going to have a talk with the supervisor, and one of us is not going to be working over here. He said, really? I said, yes, because I can't deal with this. If you notice, I go full-blown turbo, and you are constantly telling me and stopping me like Heckle and Jekyll. And yes, there are certain people in our society that do that. I don't know why they do that. And a supervisor who wasn't there made a decision to have this other guy. He could have been pulling tickets. He could have been packing. He didn't do any of that. He just walked and followed him around. He's up on the scissor lift. He's just standing there looking and talking to him. Well, that's nice. You got a workplace boyfriend. Nothing's getting done. Now you got a workplace boyfriend that could hold your hand all day. And I'm going to say something. And then I got a thing in my phone saying shipping, mandatory meeting 10:15. I thought, oh boy, here we go. I called my friend who works in a factory and I said, you know what? You cannot just go to work and do your job. And we were comparing notes. And I haven't even told you about the other part of that. And I'm not going to. When you got leaders in the workplace that aren't doing what they're supposed to do, and they just want to please everybody while they make you one of the best employees, have to suck it up and deal with all this. This is what happens when you try to please everybody. You're going to end up angering good people. I mean, if somebody come up and offered double what I was making today, I'd be like, let's go. I don't know why companies destroy the best person and they coddle the liabilities. I see grown men going after women that are nothing more than a liability. I see women going after men that are nothing but a liability. And I still have that stigma. I had a car. I was walking in Duluth. I was a happy-go-lucky. I love living in Duluth. I liked being on the hillside looking at Lake Superior with its moods. And a car pulls up. Hey, man, how thick are them Coke bottles, man? I'm a grown adult. Made fun of just me being me. And now you got Christians. The way you dress isn't pleasing to God. Is everything you do pleasing to God? You bossing me around, ordering me around? You think that that's the fruit of the Spirit? You don't have that kind of relationship with me to do that. I have lived with stigma and put downs and bullying and harassment, and it still goes on. It's the song that never gets out of your head. Dun, 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 dun. Here's a story. Oh my gosh. Do not sing the Brady Bunch. Do not sing Gilligan's Island. Do not sing Baby Shark and the wheels on the bus and 99 bottles of beer on the wall. And I know I'm a Christian, because if I wasn't, I'd fly apart. And I noticed something. I noticed something about the place I work. We have a very hard time getting good workers. The pay is low. The job is hard. You're never caught up. And it's a burnout. Good thing is Michael has the engine room to handle this kind of a place. But then you add in the layer of the psychological dynamic of babies in adult bodies. Well, that becomes another problem. You got two men, both of them stronger and mightier to me, in a day's time did less than I did. And the other guy who didn't do anything kept coming over. Man, how do you have all that energy, man? I almost turned around and said, well, you're paid to work. And whether you got the energy or not, you need to get stuff done. But I'm not their supervisor. I'm not their boss. And if I'm ever made that, I'm going to say, I need both of you to grab the tickets and go separate directions. We're not holding each other's hands in here today, okay? We don't have a company friend that follows you around. Tell you, when the cat's away, the mice play. Disobedient to parents, ungrateful, unholy, unloving, irreconcilable, malicious gossips, without self-control, brutal, haters of good, treacherous, reckless, conceited, lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God. Holding to a form of godliness, though they have denied its power, and avoid such men as these. You notice everybody in America claims to be a Christian, including people who support woke ideologies and vote Democrat. How can you be a Christian and vote Democrat ticket? How can you do that? That doesn't add up to me. And Trump, let's get back to this cult following. Trump can do no wrong. MAGA, MAGA, MAGA. You know, I get tired when things become a corporate advertisement. I don't wear MAGA shirts or MAGA hats because I think that whole thing is silly. I voted for Trump because I belong in this country. There's been unfair trade practices. But he is putting tariffs on any country that didn't agree with him doing a land grab of Greenland to protect America. Now that's a toddler, and that's wrong. And no matter what you believe, just because I voted for Trump does not mean he's got papal infallibility. And neither does the Pope, by the way. I don't know why. And the same goes for me. I don't think just because I'm a Christian, I'm above and beyond any critique. I just make a comment about this dressing. You're not going to change that. So if it bothers you too much, go away. Did I ever explain away Deuteronomy 22:5? No, I didn't. But I make a point. Y'all focus on something that you see on the outside. But none of you deal with what's inside your own selves. Attitudes. Your so-called impression of righteous is just hatred. And I've noticed in America, we've got a thin veneer of Christianity. You got pretty women out there that are narcissist, materialistic, and entitled, and they think they're tight with Jesus. Really? Do not think of yourself more highly than you ought. Has anybody got on YouTube and preached that to the lion's share of women in this country? Because most of them think more highly of themselves than they are. And you know why? Because men put it all there. They pedestalize them. And they're doing the same thing to Donald Trump. The same thing that they've done to preachers. Look at Joel Osteen. Everybody loves him. New kid in town. Johnny come made me. And he is messing around spiritually, monetarily, and you drink the Kool-Aid and you become a follower of the clown, and now you're shocked. I voted for Trump, but he's not infallible. He's not without sin. You cannot take a country from somebody else just because you want it. This is 2026. Have we not learned? You got the liberals claiming we stole the land. How's that going to work out? If we tell Denmark we're just going to take it. You can't do that. And I watched Americans talking bad about Stamer or whatever his name is in UK, who stood up to protest that. Stamer's right. And I watched MAGA supporters just being nasty. Who gives an F what this guy thinks? MAGA, MAGA. And that's why the Democrats get more nitrous to their fire. So you think it's okay to bully Denmark to take Greenland? I don't support that. They interviewed the people in the villages. They don't want us to be under U.S. authority. Leave them alone. You offer Denmark a price, they don't want to sell it, then it's done. Trump is being a bully. Hello? 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 Some of you Trump supporters better back up your little Tonka truck and stop making him out to be Jesus Christ. I will never support the Democrat left. But a land grab, I don't support that either. I think it's interesting how stupid this country is. We swooped in and took the leader of Venezuela and his wife right out of their bed. And we can't stop an out-of-control mayor and an out-of-control governor of Minnesota. Don Lemon hasn't been arrested. They said the DOJ would charge him. Give me a break. Nothing's going to happen to him. And now we're going to be a bully and take Greenland. And this is why there are other people that don't like Trump. This is somebody else's real estate we're talking about. How about if I come in and say, I need your house for my security? Out. Would you put up with that? Sometimes there are dumb Trump supporters. Dumb. Sometimes there are rude, mean, cruel Republicans. Rude, mean, cruel Christians. I experienced that this week at church. I come in happy-go-lucky and some guy's being a crusty crab to me for no reason. And I said, you know what? I've got to turn this stuff around. This just keeps happening. I'm not a beta. I'm not a soy. I'm not a meta. But I'm getting tired of this. He doesn't go and say, you know what? You're very rude. How about if you don't talk to me, dude? And if he goes off, I'll say, you're not very Christ-like. You made some rude comments to me when I wasn't talking to you last weekend, and I didn't appreciate it. I came that close to leaving. And I know you don't care, but if you want this church to grow, you're going to have to realize there's going to be people in here that aren't just like you, buddy. Republicans, Trump supporters. I supported Trump, but I'm not going to support him on this crap. I'm a Christian, okay? But I'm not perfect. And that doesn't mean I'm going to stop talking about this, because this is the power right here. 2 Timothy 3 describes our age. And I know some Trump supporters. They're buttholes. I know a lot of Christians that are buttholes. Buttholes. I work with one. Young guy went to Christian school, claims to be a Christian. He showed up the other day with bright blue hair. I said, hey, what made you do that? Because I wanted to. Oh, okay. I'm not going to dye my hair any color, let alone blue. Censorship. It comes in all forms. Bullying. It comes in all forms. Going up to a person and making fun of their glasses. Virginia, Minnesota, home of liberals. My then wife got out of the car at Target, heard a woman. Some lady was getting a kid out of the car in their wheelchair who was autistic and doing what autistic kids do. This mother took her daughter, come on, I want to show you a handicapped kid. I want to show you a retarded kid. Are you serious? I'm glad I wasn't there. I would have said, young lady, look at your mom. That's a retarded one. Would you go up to a person in a wheelchair and say, you'd look much better without that wheelchair? Or your grandma, you look much better without that walker or your dentures? Americans are some of the dumbest people. Mike, you'd look so much better without glasses. Women, why do you think that that's a compliment? I had a woman, she's dead now, ironically. Black woman, very, very heavy. I mean, to the point of Pillsbury dough arms with the creases in between. Big giant mole here. Not a sight of beauty, my opinion. And I was at the pumps fueling up my bus a couple of years ago. She's at the other pump. I can't see her. I hear her voice. Hey, Mike. Yeah? I like you better with short hair. I didn't say anything. I continued. Mike. Yeah? I said, I like you better with short hair. I didn't respond. Because you know what I wanted to say? I'd like you better if you weren't 400 pounds. Women do not put a filter sometimes. I did this channel. I have always done this channel to be genuine, to be real. I don't hide or gloss over any of my flaws. And I get attacked constantly by nitwits, by losers, by people who say very hurtful or even false things because they have nothing better to do than to dog people on the internet. And you got a satanic infested troll of over 10 years, 11 now, still going. And nobody wants to talk about that as being a problem. But Michael wearing a woman's top or lipstick. I am going to be removing wrenches. And I don't want anybody taking it personal. I'm not going to give a reason. If you're listening to my videos, you heard it here. We're going to be removing wrenches. And in fact, I'm probably going to do chat less and less. Because there's so much trolling in there. And it's upticking again. And then people get mad when they're banned. And then they get butthurt, and then they try to get revenge on the channel. It's like, you know what? This is ridiculous. Michael's going to be who he is. And if YouTube or you or anybody else doesn't like it, go find somewhere else to play. You know, the Bible says, be all things to all men. What does that mean? Does that mean I got to be trans to the trans? Be woke to the woke? Democrat to the Democrats? No, it doesn't. But does that also mean I got to be what another Christian thinks I ought to be? No, it doesn't. Now, I will say this. I do need to walk in this. Do I always? No. I display my free will. Am I drowning cats in the bathtub? Am I abusing people? Do I got a Ponzi scheme going on? No, I don't. And people trip over clothing. How many of you that have a problem with my manner of dressing, which is not all the time, how many of you are as bold, as passionate, and as on fire publicly in front of the world of YouTube and social media as I am? I thought so. None of y'all. So when you start a channel and you get close to 10,000 subs and you're lighting it up for Jesus, let me know. Let me know. So you expect me to be perfect while you give Trump a free pass, while you give preachers a free pass to be multimillionaires. Then you don't want to criticize Trump, MAGA, MAGA, MAGA. I don't like his language regarding Greenland. I don't like the bully tactic that he appears to be taking. And he said he would impose tariffs on anybody who disagreed with that. That's what a bully does, people. And I don't care if the Democrats agree with me or not. That's what a bully does. And we don't support that by the left or by the right. And the Democrats are bullies because they are entrenched into Google and social media and they're bullying conservatives. But when a conservative bullies and is threatening to take another country or using language like that, I'm going to say something. That's not okay. And sometimes there's some testosteronic alpha wannabe males. Oh, Trump, listen to this guy. You're talking to... Get over yourself. You talk about what I wear, talk about what he's doing. You don't just take a country. Leave Denmark and leave Greenland alone. It is not necessary for the protection of the U.S. There's another agenda under that, and Republicans have been known to be guilty of getting involved in stuff to grab oil, Halliburton. And I'm tired of that too. And we forget. We vote in somebody who walks on two legs, sits on the toilet, and smells as bad as everybody else. I don't regret voting for Trump. But if he keeps doing what he's doing, it's going to hurt all of us on the right in the polls, in the midterms. And we could lose the farm again. And if we lose it this time, you think you got ICE protests, AOC and them are going to make sure that you and I are unemployed and suffer. They're going to come after us. So stop encouraging Trump in a land grab. You know what's necessary for the protection of this country? Is for everybody to get on their knees and cry out to God and repent for the stuff that we've endorsed. And that's not going to happen anytime soon. If the Democrats get control again, if they get the House, the Senate, and the presidency, I'll be off YouTube. They will censor us, fire us. They will run over our constitutional rights. They will shred the Constitution. And if you think you're persecuted now, it's really going to get bad. Where's Pelosi? Where's AOC? Where's Ilhan Omar? Ilhan Omar's silent because they came in and protested in a church. But go do that in a mosque and watch Ilhan Omar be the loudest person on the block. The problem with Ilhan Omar, she's running around in her underwear or panties and we all see it and she doesn't. You're silent. Where's your voice? Where's your voice saying, whoa, 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 Don Lemon, you crossed the line? Because I don't care about a Christian church, but if they'd have done that at a mosque, I would have been upset. You can't do that. Where's her voice now? Where is it? The double standard and hypocrisy of the left is self-evident every single day. You just got to think a little bit. But Trump could bring that party back into the forefront if he doesn't watch his step. They hate him. They hate us. They hate God. They hate this. They're telling you that college is more important than this. We need to hold our president accountable. We all need to say, hey, Trump, get off this Greenland thing and stop. Am I now trying to please everybody? No, I'm not. Look at some of the Republicans and conservatives who voted for Trump and the mean comments they're leaving. You think it's okay to just take a country that's got 56,000 people living in it and ram American ideology down their throat? That's being a bully. If Denmark agreed, the people voted to come over to us, that's a whole different story. Trump is showing something that we all don't like to tell ourselves. He's being human and he's making a mistake. And that mistake is going to be criticized by everybody on the left, by other countries, and no one is going to endorse that. If Russia or China went there and just took Greenland, said we're taking it, the U.S. would condemn that. So why is it okay for the U.S. to do it? Trump supporters, pull your head out of your butt cheeks and think. I have no regrets I voted for this president, but he's about to get us in trouble. And his actions could cause the demise of the Republican Party real fast. We got an enemy out there, and that's the left, which is owned by Satan. We need to make sure that we're doing things right so that we don't lose the farm. Doing a land grab is not in our best interest. Thank you for listening, people. Google is not your friend. They're of this world system. They're under the prince of the power of the air. They can claim it's their forum. You got to follow their rules, whatever they are. If Google would follow the same rules for all the woke and bad people out there saying horrible things on the internet, then at least it'd be a level playing field, but it is not. The deck is stacked against conservatives, is stacked against God-fearing people, is stacked against genuine. Look at Benny Johnson. Benny Johnson is in the pocket of Donald Trump. His channel gets traction. He had a troll threaten him online and they arrested him. Do you think they're going to arrest the troll that's threatened me online with comments? It can be tracked down through an IEP. All his history and fingerprint is on there. No, they don't care. Benny Johnson's got his little channel, his little neon outline of himself, and you got to be kidding me. Privilege card. But is he ever going to talk about himself? Is he ever going to be real? No, he isn't. He's just regurgitating the news. And he's taking credit. He's taking credit for Don Lemon's going to be, charged by the DOJ. Really, Benny? Are you thinking of yourself more highly than you are? I'm done with these channels. I got rid of Mark Dice because they're becoming arrogant. Why does Benny Johnson get a troll removed and arrested, but I can't? Because you're not high enough up the food chain. Look, it's all wrong no matter who does it. Be safe, everybody. It's a stupid world out there. Make sure you don't step in poo, okay? Because it's easy to do. Easy. Till next time.